Hello everyone, welcome back to Noodling Around with Nor and Rad. I was just catching up on some reading there. I hear there's a movie, something about the Avengers that's out these days, I don't know. But that's not what we want to talk about today. What we want to talk about today is a plugin called Avenger. From Vengeance plugins. Avenger may just be the penultimate synthesizer VST. It really does absolutely everything that I would want from a VST, other separate VSTs, and it just kind of crams them all together. And ordinarily, that's the kind of thing that would make me skeptical, like, well, you know, if it's not like a, how can they possibly program all that without it making bugs, or, you know, when you click on something, does it work properly? Is it sticky when you move the knobs and stuff? But by and large, I think this thing actually nails it. It's actually been out for 2 years. I came in pretty late. I got it a few months ago, and I was actually going to make a video for this a while ago, but I hadn't. I don't even want to explain it. It's a long process. But anyways, I think it would be worthwhile for me to make a video where I just show you what a normal person looks like fiddling around, noodling around, if you will, with this VST, because actually I want to address this before I get into the channel. A lot of people leave comments on the videos, and it's awesome, and even the ones that are, you know, constructive criticism or just straight up criticism, I appreciate it, but I think a lot of people get the wrong idea about what this channel is actually about. I'm not one of those guys that's like a wizard with synthesizers. Like, I didn't grow up playing with any synths. I've never actually had a hardware synth to mess around with ever, but 80s sounds are just something I like a lot, and it's not something I know a lot about, except that I like the sound. So the reason that I make these videos is kind of for other people out there that might be kind of like me, where you just want to make the music and you're not worried about being an expert. And that doesn't mean that we all want to make excuses and say like, oh, I don't want to make my own presets, I don't want to fiddle with anything because I just want to use the presets. Like, a lot of my videos are about presets, but that's also just, I want to show you guys what the thing sounds like out of the box, but I also like to fiddle around just a bit so you can see what it's like for a composer, because I guess that's what I would count myself as, is like a composer. I make the music. That's kind of what my job is. I don't make the sounds necessarily. Like, I can do a little bit of that, but I don't make the sounds. So alright, that's the preamble. Let's dive in. Also, got a little friend right here. Hopefully he stays there for the entire video. Let's just dive in. I haven't done any planning here, so this could go kind of wrong. Go real wrong real quick. There's Avenger in a nutshell. And I'd say immediately it kind of reminded me of the Electra X plugin, Tone 2, I think. But recently they came out with Tone 2 Electra 2, which was the like sequel to Electra X, and when they came out with that, my Tone 2 Electra X just stopped working altogether. I think something to do with like the online connectivity, so that's great, and I tried to figure that out with them. They couldn't figure it out with me, so I just had to let that one go. Fortunately, this one came around and it looked like it did everything that I wanted Tone 2 Electra X to do, but it just does it better, so that's good. I mean, Electra X was an older plugin and it was ahead of its time, I think, and I love the GUI on it too, but apparently people hated it, so Electra X2 or whatever got rid of the GUIs, which is a goofy move on my part, or on their part. So anyways, let's dive in right here. I don't have any of the, what do you call them, the preset packs, the upgrades. I just have the factory, and fortunately this thing comes loaded with tons of presets, but I'm not gonna go over the presets with you guys because actually Vengeance has an incredible bunch of videos on their YouTube channel that actually go over the presets in depth and all the features in depth. So why am I making this video? I just want to show you guys what it's like for a composer. If you're a person that just likes the sound of synth and you want to say, hey, is this the thing I need for composing some synth in my recent project? Well, hopefully this video will help you find that out. So I'm not gonna do a presets crawl. I might go through some presets like this one. Man, this is such a good preset. But I want to show you guys some of the effects here, or features, and even still, they go over all these features in their videos better than I can, and so I commend them for that. But how does it work for an average composer? So let's dive in. Here's the default sound. Pretty good, and might I say, it sounds, it's a good sound in synth. So right off the bat, it's just your saw wave. They got, actually, I'm not even gonna go over some of the stuff they have. They have everything in the synth, so watch their videos for the main thing. But what I think is the ultimate, the thing that immediately got me excited about this plugin was just how easy it was to make your sound go from this to this. Other plugins are easy as well. I'd say, was it Lush? Lush is actually really easy to do this as well, but Lush is more specialized to be an emulation, whereas this is kind of like a ultimate sort of synth that does everything you could possibly think of. And another good thing is the modulation window here is really, really good. And you can do a lot of stuff with it, including one of my all-time favorite things. Let's see if I can do this on the fly, which I usually goof up. Let's add, this is something I like doing even though I don't really have a use for it. MIDI velocity, and let's crank that up to something, and then point it to, let's say the attack here. And whoops, I didn't keep it up. So here's what I'm doing with this, and let me turn off. So what I've just done there is, and you saw how easy it was, I attached my MIDI velocity to the attack of the amp filter. So if I want to hit this note, if I hit it hard, it basically just has a fast attack, but if I hit it slow, it has a slow attack. You can see here the little blue sort of represents when things are affecting something, so let's get even nuttier with it. So fast attack, see how it's right off the bat? And so one thing that immediately you should start thinking about, what if I add some release? And then what if I add, what do we want to do here? What already sounds good because it's a nice sort of warm sounding saw. Well, actually it's not warm, but it has all that detuning, so that it kind of gives it this round quality. But what if I then add another LFO and I want it to be a sine wave, yeah. So you see, and I'm gonna walk the line here, a fine line between showing you how to do things and just you watching me make sounds. But so I've got the second LFO here, and I want to add it now to the mod matrix. So that's the one I just made. LFO 1 is already by default there. So okay, so we got LFO 2 here, and I want to say, hey, LFO 2, could you fiddle with the transpose? And then I want it to be real slow like, and I want it to be random. It's not doing anything yet. So now basically what I've done here is if it has a really slow random sound, it basically means every time I hit a new note, like if I hold it for a really long time, for approximately 16 bars, you'll hear it change to the next rung. So it's effectively changing the note every time I hit a note. But obviously that's too much. So what we want to do is just make this low. In fact, 0.5 maybe? Maybe even less. So now you can see right here, it's just barely making a dent on the tuning every time I hit a note. And maybe I don't want it to give me full attack, yeah. So I'm gonna make it so my velocity, hard, full-on velocity, doesn't make it go perfect attack. And that might be a little too much cutoff, so what I would like to do, roll off the cutoff a bit, and you know what could sound cool here? If we add MIDI aftertouch. And I want to say, hey MIDI aftertouch, could you affect the cutoff for me? That's maybe not enough aftertouch. Add a little what are they called? Why do I want to say resolution? Why can't I remember anything? Resonance. Been a while since I've fiddled with this stuff. And I've got the envelope to be full blast, so maybe I can turn that off or roll it off just a bit. And that's a little too much res. And let's make it a. Do we want to try with a low pass with a 24? Basically, low pass 24, low pass 12. Low pass 12 is going to sound a little softer, and a low pass 24 is going to sound. It'll get more muffled quicker, if that makes sense. So it kind of lets you fudge it, because I'm not a great keyboard player. Another reason why I make this video for a composer's perspective, because I sequence a lot. But what it lets you do is if you don't hit the right velocity off the start, you can kind of correct it by using aftertouch. So it lets you kind of fiddle with that a bit. Now, cool thing might be to add some vibrato. And you might think like, well, it says vibrato amount over here. Those don't really do vibrato the way it looks like they should. The way I think that it looks like they should. I'm, like I said, not a whiz here. So let's add LFO1, which we haven't done anything with yet. And I'm gonna say, hey LFO1, affect transpose. And do I wanna? Yeah, now I need to, so this is gonna be our vibrato. So LFO1, we're gonna say triplet. Yeah, we're gonna make that our vibrato, but it's obviously, I don't want it to be going nuts like that. What I want to do is now, well, we have to turn this back to 0. I just wanted you to hear the effect, so let's add something new here. This is what makes this super powerful VST. So now you can add, is this what I want? MIDI mod wheel, or we already have mod wheel because it comes default. I don't like this. They've defaulted it to be. I feel like that's. Obviously, this is meant to be a synth for like EDM, but I don't make EDM. I might do a 4 on the floor with like a ducking beat, but I don't really make EDM. I make a lot of like vintage, I don't know, it's like eclectic weird stuff. I make weird music. But what I want to do is take this off, because okay, well I should finish the thought. I think this would make more sense, where the mod wheel makes it go up, so the cutoff goes open, open, instead of close, close with turning it up, because I think that's like kind of a dubstep move to have it go down and closed, like this. Because then you can kind of do your own ducking, which, I mean, that might work for some stuff, but I don't need that. What I want, though, to add an extra thing to our mod wheel is to then go here, and this is what I was going to say, this is what makes it strong, the mod matrix slot here, so then I can make it so my mod wheel can affect the, I'm pointing at the screen like you can see, affect the amount of any one of these percentage-wise. So I want to say, hey, go down here, LFO1 percentage-wise, so group LFO, which I've set to be oscillator transpose. So now when I raise this, it's gonna be my vibrato. That's obviously way too much. Let's try 1, actually. actually stand to be a little higher. Let's try 2. Okay, one thing, hey, all you developers out there, one thing I wish was in a VST. This is the one VST that none of them have, but this one's the closest. Sorry, hear weird sounds behind me. None of them have it. This one is as close as it gets, but still doesn't have it. You notice how when I have aftertouch on something, it goes full on, and I'm basically in control of the arc of whether it goes off. So if it's full blast here, full blast, I have to release slowly. And that's not a smooth sound, you know? So what I wish a VST would do is to have an envelope release, so you can get it all the way up. And then when you let go, the release happens for what I've added to aftertouch internally inside the thing. So you could actually like go like, and then have it fade off and go to your next note. But that's maybe because I'm not a good player, but those are the kind of features those are gonna be next level features. You just wait and see. But anyways, so we've got a vibrato. Also, this is still the default patch, and I turned off the detuning actually, so I could turn it up again. Have it fade in a bit. And this was a cool feature I just saw on their tutorial actually. The little feature here that says, hey, do you want this ultimate vibrato that's kind of going over top of everything to be global, or do you want it to be independent for every oscillator? So there's 5 going on at once here. And so that will actually just add a little more texture. Okay, and this could be smooth, but I'm just not a smooth player, so don't blame the VST for that. So let's go even further here. This is really intuitive setup, I think. So here's basically your main overarching mess about stuff. Like this is per oscillator up here, but then your arps and your sequencer sort of gate sounds and stuff like that. But what I love is that they have pitch here, and this is actually hard to do if you are messing with like Silent or something. You can do this, but you have to like kind of put a bunch of things together in the mod matrix, and you could do this in their mod matrix here too, but it's easier to just be like, hey, guess what? At the start of every note, I want it to be 100% lower and raise into the sound. Something like that. I like that. I love when things roll up into the sound. You can even get crazier with it and move it further along. Then you kind of have to play a little slower. Or maybe not. I still think this is maybe a little too much cutoff, so let's go lower. And maybe that's also because I have... Let's go back to... Oh shoot, I changed it to NEX. I actually want analog. But in any case, I was going to change it to a 12 dB roll off anyways. Can I get, maybe I need more. Oh, that's as much aftertouching as I can get. Seems like I should be able to get it to go all the way up. Maybe I'm missing something here. Oh well. Let's actually add key tracking as well. I've never tried this on this, so. Key tracking is if you don't know, where the lower the note, the cutoff's going to be lower, and the higher the note, the cutoff's going to be higher. Let's ramp this back to a sensible thing, and you can really easily change it so it's got an arc to it. And the default patch here that I'm using did come with a delay and a reverb, which maybe that's a good place to go check out some of their effects here. So you go here into their effects matrix, and you right click one of these and you can add whatever the heck you want. What I would like to add is they have this cool thing. I don't know if it's gonna work for me, but so there's a plugin called Volume Shaper by Cable Guys. Great plugin. I use it all the time for if you want your song to have a scooped sort of duck sound, ducking sort of EDM. Like I said, it's the one thing I kind of do. Like this sound. So what we could do, actually, I haven't tried this, so this could fail miserably. Let's go to drums. Do I have any drums loaded up? Bass drum. Do I have a bass drum? This way? Ooh. I did something. I don't need that much kicking. So let's... this is probably not the... Actually, you know, I can do it smarter than this. I was just going to mute everything but the kick drum, but I can actually just go in here and be like, get out of here. Just give me kick drum sounds. Get out of here. Alright, you can just see what I'm saying? Like this unusually well-crafted VST. Especially since I didn't have any other plugins before this one, so I hadn't really vetted them, but... So what's going on there is the ducking from my synth is happening here with this effect that I just put in there, and then the kick drum is something that gets triggered zone, everything under here. This is actually, whew, they could probably make that a little bigger. That's the one flaw, I guess, so far, but maybe I could have a bigger monitor and then I would already see it. But so this is how you would make it so it's always gonna play the kick drum. I could probably do a lot better with that, but that's a good example of what kind of stuff you can do right here. And again, this is all just from the basic, the default patch, which is still pretty amazing. Okay, so let's see if we can. Why don't we just get crazy here? Why don't we add another oscillator? I'm way out of my comfort zone now. I usually stick with one oscillator, but okay, so the gate's still gonna work on that, which is fine. That's what I want. But what I'm gonna do, actually, everything's still working on it. Oh, because the filter, yeah, the filter. So I've got one filter here, filter one, and I guess everything is going through filter one unless I say otherwise. Because yeah, okay, right here it says filter one. So if I turn off filter one and I turn off my effects. So we got a step sequencer I could use there. So what if I, oh, okay, then you click here and then I can say, hey, if I have another filter, Add filter 2. Yes. Okay. What I want to do, these are some weird sounds. Wait, let's get full vol. Let's dive into some of their weird ones here. Basic shapes, factory, let's get complex. Let's I guess we'll use that. And I want to make this so I don't have to hit such a low note. Where's my transpose for this one? Okay, and I want to add like a sample and hold. Oh, cool, he's still there. I want to add a sample and hold so it's like like all kind of weird like that. So, and I don't want it to be sustained like that, so I'm going to add another amp. And can I add amp 2 here? No, I can't. Okay. Because yeah, you can't turn amp off here. Wonder if that's maybe something. I haven't updated it yet. There's another update waiting. So maybe that's the problem there, but I don't want it to have the release. So that's no good. Alright, well, then this will have to be a little different in my head. I'm visualizing something else now. I can still make it do what I want, it's just not going to sound as good. So let's then add another LFO, and let's add sample and hold, or that's what you'd call the random one here. And then say in my mod matrix, add the one I just made, boom. And let's add it to one of these nutty things, I don't know, here. So again, I just made this LFO here, and then put it in the mod matrix, and then assigned it to randomly mess around with this thing. And if I could have... Oh, did I find it out? Yeah, okay, alright. Let's discard this goofy thing, and I'll show you what I just figured out. Okay, so what you do is you click on these, and then you can change which amp you're using. So I want to use amp 2. And I don't know much about ARPs and making ARPs, but whenever you see these little gaps here, like here, or I guess I don't see it anywhere else, but a lot of the other things, like editor here, that's their preset sort of bits. So I can add one of their preset ARPs. Not really doing anything. What if I turn this off for now? Alright, I gotta change it so ARP2 is enabled. And now let's turn this back on because I want that. Let's see if this sounds like anything worth hearing. Oh yeah, okay, let me turn this back. And I'm gonna actually make it so my LFO also randomly fiddles with the panning. Where would I do that? Oscillator 2. And what do they call this? The voicing VSaw pan spread. Did I do it right? I don't think I did. This is what I want. Maybe that's a little extreme. My LFO3. Oh, here we go. Now I'm getting some panning. And maybe this bass line's not good. There, finally. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, that's you know, that might be the video. I mean, if you want to see some presets for this, check out their official videos because a lot of their presets sound smoking hot. And you know, actually, I might save this because it's kind of fun to remember what the hell I went through here. Initial preset, you can see it's pretty easy to MC Noodling around 01. Pretty easy to save your presets and recall them. But I want to show you this one. This is their first preset in the whole batch. And so you can see they've got 4 different arps here, and they've written their own little melodic line here. So that's fantastic sounding. That's such a rich sound, and I think one of the reasons why I wanted to buy this synth was I've been trying to get that sound, this pluck sound. So let me mute this. Let me turn off the ARP. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. See that pluck sound? This is the kind of stuff I like to write with synths. Kind of simple, and I certainly never use arpeggios built into the VST, but this is actually really good because they wrote like a whole 4 bars of a melodic line here, but it doesn't really give you a lot to do when you want to change this melodic line. Like you have to keep using their ARP, but you know, you can save your own melodies in here and then keep cycling through them, and you might be able to do it with automation as well, so you can have as many as you want, but I don't know, don't quote me on that. But that sound, this pluck sound, it reminds me of Deus Ex, the first Deus Ex game that came out for the last next-gen console, so like Deus Ex Ex Machina, I think it was called. But it had that, the main theme at the beginning kind of had this pluck sound. And I just loved the way it sounded. That was the reason why I bought Electra X, because it sounded like that to me. Because there's kind of this borderline, actually here, we don't need the full thing anymore, and you can get a little more goofball over there. You know, there's this fine line that I have to walk with all these VSTs, because the money gets brought in when you sort of target EDM stuff, and the niche money comes in when you make the emulations that sound like old vintage gear. So you could make like a Yamaha CS80 emulation, but not everyone's going to want to use that, even though it sounds like Blade Runner, and that's my ultimate sound, the Blade Runner preset. And Diva, UHE or UHE, they make a really good VST that can simulate that sound, so that's the stuff I like. But a lot of times I find those VSTs are kind of hard to work with, because you saw all the features that Avenger has. It lets you really fiddle things around, so you can fine tune like that thing. It's just a playstyle thing, but I like when my attack can be modulated to my, or my velocity can be modulated to my attack. So the softer I play, like I can get that sort of up and down level of texture. Because I'm not a good player, but you can sound more evocative of emotion if you can kind of, anything you can kind of tweak to your play style is good. Because when you load up these presets, that's tweaked to their playstyle, or whoever made them. So they're good at what they want to sound like or how they play. And a lot of people don't like to use the mod wheel or aftertouch, so you have to kind of add those things to your own presets or their presets even. So yeah, I like this trance preset here, but what if I want to add aftertouch, or what if I want to add my own things that I like? How easy is it to do that, and like how in-depth can you get with those things? And so Avenger, I think, is the ultimate so far in letting you do whatever you want to do with your sounds. And it just so happens that, you know, that level of sophistication is only in the EDM VSTs at this moment. Because I like to impose my own limitations. So if I want to create an emulation, I can do it kind of through my own meddling. And then if I want to break those limitations, it's nice to be able to do that. It's kind of like a chiptune mentality. So that's what I like about Avenger. It lets me do kind of really obscure things that match my playstyle, and it lets me make vintage sounds even though it's a super modern sounding piece of gear, piece of software. So that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed it. Please follow me on Twitter, because that's how you can kind of keep up to date with anything that I'm doing, including new noodling around videos or when a new soundtrack drops. I'm working on 2 soundtracks at the moment, and they're probably both going to be out this year, and they're going to be slamming. Just just prepare yourself, everyone. So yeah, you'll know when those drop. And my YouTube channel, feel free to subscribe. Please leave some comments, because they help me know what the heck I'm doing. Even if you're criticizing me, I do get the message, and hopefully I could better explain to you guys why I make some of these videos here. And if that's still not your thing, feel free to just dump on me in the comments, because I have nothing better to do than check those out. Alright, so I got some more books to read. Enjoy this plugin, and we'll see you at the movies. And if you can, read the original book, because it's probably way better than the movie. Although the movie might be good as well. Haven't seen it. Alright, no spoilers. We'll catch you guys on the flippy flop. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. We'll see you guys next time. Feel free to subscribe to this channel.